I was very excited. I was so excited to see this part of my dad's life. And it just, the more I thought about him, it tells of his life there. All parts of it, just many parts of it. He was trying to be humorous for the folks back home, and little things he would mention, and a lot of it is tell somebody thank you for the cakes they sent. I guess they did get supplies over there, but it took an awful long time, I think, for letters to get back and forth. And then I realized how close he came to getting killed. And he was rather gracious about things when he said he didn't care to take souvenirs from the Germans. And he always had a sense of humor. He could have been another Will Rogers, really. He sort of kept everybody chuckling. But these letters were just wonderful to read. Well, that he was brave like all the other men who were there. That he was one of those who didn't think it was his job to go since he was producing milk here at home. But when he got over there, he says in here that it's the thing to do and he wouldn't be anywhere else until it's settled. He thought it was going to be over sooner than that. But it has a lot of meaning, just more and more as the years go by, it seems. He was so philosophical. I thought he really was, for somebody who was right there in the midst of all of it. It was the first time, I'm sure, to see dead soldiers, dead people, and he tries to be brave about it in writing about it. He was also a man of the soil, you might say, here in Oklahoma. He dealt with livestock and people and weather. He managed to keep up pretty well with the others, or maybe better, because he was so hardened to the weather and really hard work with dairy and crops and well, it was just a whole window into that war. And it only took a short year, well, a year and a half out of his life. But what a huge part it was, and how fortunate, of course, that he came home alive. I just read something about 19,000 in his brigade, and 14,000 came home. So the deaths were, he was in the field artillery, back behind the infantry. And they had a hard time keeping up sometimes, but they were proud of their work, seems like. Well, I just couldn't quit. And I had to get a magnifying glass to try to make out some of these words. I thought he had a really nice language, use of the language, considering he'd only went to the 8th grade here and then went to Edmond for a little while to the normal school. He tried school teaching a little bit, but he didn't have a college degree, but his handwriting is really nice, and his use of words, it seems to me, are good. He was born in Muskogee, Oklahoma, but he rode in here in a wagon when he was 4 years old with his parents. And they had cows with them, 15 cows, 5 children, a baby in grandmother's lap, and they got here a day late, April 22nd, 1889, but it was the day after, and they were just horrified at all the crowd in Oklahoma City, of course. They didn't think too many people would be that anxious to settle in Oklahoma Station, it was called then. So they just tied their cows to some fence or some tree and started milking. You have to keep doing that. And people came up and started buying their milk. So they had the first dairy in Oklahoma City. And it was the day after, and people told them about Sooners that were located at what is now 13th and Broadway. So that's where they staked a claim. There were others who did it too, but they won their claim after a year or two. And I think the lawyer took 40 acres for his fee, and so some of downtown Oklahoma City is part of the old homestead. But that proved too much downtown pretty soon. In 1898, they bought this property out here across from what's now Remington Park, and there's still dairy buildings there today that were built in the 20s and 30s. And he would take horse and wagon and drive into Oklahoma City to deliver the milk in downtown Oklahoma City. And he loved delivering milk with horses because they could turn themselves around. They remembered every house to stop in, and he thought they were just wonderful. And that's why he got put in the field artillery and rode the wheel horse of the half section. I can't remember a time when we talked about it, except at the last, when he was very elderly. And I hear the others don't either. He said, just as soon as Uncle Sam can do without me, I'm be going home. I know it was hard for the family to see him go, but he does say in here that at first he thought his duty was to stay at home and keep producing milk for the population. But then he got over there and decided that's what he should be doing.